Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I've just returned from the Matthews Bridge. And coming up today, we're going to talk about Raw Underground, Shane McMahon running a fight club on WWE TV. None of it makes sense. Anyway, we're also going to talk about Dominik Mysterio making his in-ring debut at SummerSlam 2020. And on top of that, 3 AEW Dynamite episodes have been moved off Wednesday because of the NBA.
Plus, that chaotic stable debuted on last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. Rusev has shot, or Miro I should say, has shot on Shane McMahon, and The Rock's purchase of the XFL isn't as straightforward as you might think. This is the news.
Right, we're gonna kick.
What the was Monday Night Raw, Andy? Sorry, Phil. I know we're only just getting to the news, but what is going on? Is this real life?
So let's talk about that a little bit. I think the biggest thing coming out of last night's episode of Raw is this underground fight club thing. Raw Underground, it's called. This was billionaire trust fund baby and renowned great punching man Shane McMahon introducing what is supposed to be, I guess, some kind of grimy shoot-style UWFI cosplay thing on Raw. There was a bunch of different segments. Like, in this basement, it's full of crap. There's like bits of wood just hanging out. There's a bunch of dudes around the ring slapping the mat. And in the ring, we've got some dudes like brawling, doing some MMA-style, shoot-style influenced grappling and striking and all of this weird stuff going on. And Shane McMahon is there going, hey, how'd you like them fights? They sure are underground because we're in the underfights. And he's like playing MCs, doing running commentaries, doing all these things. So there's a number of different highlights from this. The first one was a fella called Daba Kato, who was a big unit and he was smashing everyone. This guy formerly wrestled as Babatunde, Performance Center NXT wrestler. He was actually in the Greatest Royal Rumble as well. So he's back on TV. He's Daba Kato. He's going to be the Underground's biggest, beefiest boy by the looks of things. Eric of the Viking Raiders had a little scrap and beat a dude up. Dolph Ziggler did some amateur wrestling stuff. He does have a pedigree in that, in the background in that, to be fair, but it was just kind of weird watching flashy-ass Dolph Ziggler, who we've seen on TV is just kind of like this sleazebag for years and years in this environment. So the whole thing had some production tweaks. It had like a sepia-like tone. It was like the camera was shaky, like you're watching Cloverfield. The cuts were there as usual, and there was this weird hip-hop beat in the background over and over that made no sense whatsoever. This was strange. It was different. The whole thing concluded with the Hurt Business invading MVP Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. Bobby Lashley killed a guy. Who was it that stepped up? Someone stepped up to Shelton Benjamin, got his ass kicked, and the Hurt Business were like, it's new management, we're taking over. And Shane was like, you guys come back every single week. This was extremely weird. Now, as has been pointed out by David Bixenspan, the wrestling journalist, it is essentially a massive rip-off of a concept that Shikara had when they presented a network pilot to WWE with the hope of putting the footage on the network. That concept was called The Crucible. It was remarkably similar in everything. Basically, there's also parallels you can draw to Bloodsport, the GCW event, hosted by Josh Barnett, and before that, Matt Riddle. And of course, the Brawl for All from back in the day. So, you know, there's a lot to pick apart with this thing. I think that anything that looks kind of new and striking will automatically drag attention in WWE because, I mean, so much of the program has this samey feel. But I think if you're WWE and you have this big budget glossy production style, it's impossible to present something as gritty or grimy. It's like Disney trying to make a slasher film. It just, I don't know, through that lens, it's impossible to kind of capture that feeling. So for me, I didn't want to come on here and just poop the whole thing immediately, but this thing sucked. So
I genuinely don't know how I feel about it. I can't look away. So I guess that's an endorsement. Although, you know, people often say that about like car crashes in slow motion. So, right, I had one day off, right? And I came back today to find out The Rock owns the XFL. Shane McMahon's back. This stable we're going to get onto. Right, there's some story. This is how mad Monday Night Raw is. I will talk about it in a second, right? we don't have time to talk about Montez Ford getting poisoned or Apollo Crews winning back the championship he never lost. That's how insane Monday Night Raw was. Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I want to see next week's Raw now. I love the Hurt Business. I think they're great. I think they are a brilliant stable. And I'm glad that they've kind of veered slightly away from the whole... Isn't this a bit like the Nation of Domination? Because that was just kind of problematic, let's be honest, especially with Vince McMahon booking it. But, oh man, when it was like Shane's coming back, I was thinking, right, what, are they just going to forget the fact he was just a, how can I put this, knobhead before this?
Yeah.
And now he's there going, ooh, he's going to slip his arm under the chin and then you're screwed, buddy. And it was just like, what is going on? I mean, Samoa Joe seemed to like it, so...
He was excited, yep. I think it's just, you can't project something that is so, like, obviously... Wrestling is fake, whatever. But when you can see right through something, WWE can't do gritty. WWE can't do realistic. It's not what the company is. It's not what they do. It's not what they're good at. And, you know, their previous forays into stuff like this, the Brawl for All was the worst idea of all time. Also, you know, if these shoot fights looked good and looked realistic and looked compelling, fine, okay, you can forgive the presentation and stuff, the obviously fake presentation, but they weren't good. Like, they were just sloppy, fake battle arts matches. Everything about this screams kind of like a ratings grab, like, give us attention, blah, 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 and that's understandable because things are sliding. And bringing Shane back in the past has resulted in increases in interest, so I get all that stuff, but for me, as a viewer, as a fan, as an observer of these things, gonna have to step it up a notch next week. That's what it is.
You know what, we can sort this out, Andy. Let us know what you think of it in the comment section below. But don't forget, the first rule of Raw Underground is you do not talk about Raw Underground.
Oh, brother, we violated that.
We're barely dipping our toe in last night's Monday Night Raw so far, because we also, as I said, had the poisoning of Montez Ford and the chaotic... I'm really glad I missed yesterday, because apparently there was a big teaser of a chaotic stable coming to Monday Night Raw, which if I'd have heard would have gone, oh my God, Undisputed Era is coming to Monday Night Raw, instead of, oh my God, sort of ninjas, but they were doing something different, so I don't think they're ninjas. Masked men, let's call them. Shocking Molotov cocktails about and causing that Raw to have to do a report going, well, Andy, we're here backstage and you can see next to me some boxes have been turned over. So, very somber atmosphere back here. They were hijacking the broadcast, basically, except they weren't. They were just sort of annoying viewers because now you lose that people... Promos were dreadful. Even worse, sorry, I should say. They're always bad, but unless someone actually just goes, you know, off script. They were just people cutting promos, but every now and again the bloke on the sound desk would go, turn that down. I'll turn it back up again. The show started with them like, hello, welcome to Monday. Oh no, the lights have gone out. Oh, what a load of bollocks. It was weird, man. This isn't what I'd expect from a hostile takeover. Anyway, there's reports claiming that Dominik Dijakovic might be linked to all this. He switched his social media accounts to all black avatars. I don't know what to think about it. Am I still asleep, Andy? What's going on?
You may well be. Yeah, this was absolutely bizarre as well. Well, I mean, when WWE kind of advertised chaos and stuff, you expect it to be, you know, a little bit neutered and a little bit downplayed because it's a PG show and they can't do too much crazy over-the-top stuff. However, man, this kind of harked back to the Riot Squad a little bit for me. You remember when they were causing mischief by, like, spilling coffee and, like, cutting people's ties and stuff, and it was just kind of like, yeah, we are the coolest 12-year-olds on the show.
What was it they did in the Bella Twins locker room? Fear less. More like fear more.
Fear more, Nikki. Yes, that was quite the burn. But, you know, I mean, like, it was weird when it started off and Tom Phillips was like, oh, the lights aren't working, hurdy-gurdy-birdie. Samoa Joe looked like he wanted to end his own life at that stage. It was crazy. But I guess the explosion bit is a bit more substantial than WWE would usually offer, so, you know, I'm more willing to see how this plays out than the Fight Club, that's for sure.
Akira Tozawa's 24/7 champion, by the way. I think we missed that as well.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened. Let's move on to something that's a bit more positive. Dominik Mysterio is going to wrestle Seth Rollins at
that happened as well.
SummerSlam. Yeah, that's a thing that got totally forgotten about. This was confirmed on last night's Raw. Dominik challenged
Seth Rollins tried to fight Tom Phillips.
Seth wanted to fight with Tom Phillips. Dominik challenged Seth to a match. Rollins came out later on and he was like, well, first of all, how about you, Tom Phillips? Samoa Joe got all up in there because he's a wrestler. Dominik attacked from behind with a kendo stick again, beat the crap out of Murphy and Rollins. They had to retreat to the ramp and then the challenge was accepted. So the match is happening. This is Dominik's first match. Pretty cool. First match ever is going down on SummerSlam. There was no sign of Daddy Ray on last night's show. He's still trying to pop the ping pong ball back in his eye socket. Yeah, cool. I mean, I'm looking forward to the weirdness of seeing Dominik wrestle. I want to see where he's at. He's looked really quite good. Really quite good. What the hell kind of description is that? He has looked good in his physical spot so far, and he works really crazily. He goes nuts in these spots. He beats the crap out of dudes with the kendo stick and he flies off the top rope and he does 619s. He doesn't give a damn. He's throwing himself into this 100%. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, to be fair, he did look amazing last night in amongst all the madness. His 619 looked great. Coming off the top rope, he looked sensational. Am I right in thinking SummerSlam's tagline is "You'll not see it coming"? I'll swear, I don't know what's going on anymore. I'll swear, right? If Monday Night Raw, right, if we said, that's it, everyone, Monday Night Raw has finally jumped the shark, next week they'll be like, live shark jumping! Is this going to be the best shark jump ever? It's just insane that what is going on in 2020. But to come back to Dominik, yeah, he gets his first match with Seth. I can't wait for it. I'm really excited about SummerSlam. But I don't know if we're going to get there the way Monday Night Raw's going. Shall we move on?
Please, yeah, please.
Oh, Rusev, Miro, he got banned from Twitch a while back, thanks to Lana. He's probably bloody glad he's out of Monday Night Raw and WWE right now. But he tweeted something that I'm sure a lot of people can get on board with, shooting on WWE, more specifically on Shane McMahon, of course, because WWE are always talking a good game and then never really pulling it off. He tweeted last night, quotes, "We want to build new talent. Shane is back." Sums it up. Andy Murray, of course, Rusev, one of the guys released on Black Wednesday. He's not wrong, is he?
No, you can't argue with that. I mean, they continually, when they have these earnings calls like the one last week, are talking about building new stars and these new exciting characters and all this stuff, and then they go back to bringing a McMahon back to TV. So it's kind of hard to argue with what Rusev has said there. You know, you can see why WWE brings Shane back in short term at least, because it usually does kind of result in a little bit of interest, and viewership is in the toilet right now. And, you know, you've got Dave Meltzer reporting that WWE had him on the show because they didn't want to have the all-time worst rating, which they've had several times recently. And there's all kinds of sports back now as well, so this week could be ugly. But yeah, I mean, he's right, man. They like, how could anyone look at this show and go, yeah, they're doing a really great job of building stars? I mean, who's drawing money? Who's drawing viewership? Who's pulling interest levels and all this? There's no one there, apart from crazy old dudes.
Cedric pointed this out. The build to the WWE Championship match, it seems, is Drew McIntyre going, "Hey everyone, remember when I was crap and got fired?"
Yeah.
Remember that? Not like I'm a monster who just has torn through everyone, beat Brock Lesnar in like 5 minutes. He sort of vaguely mentions that and goes, yeah, but remember when I was the chosen one and then nothing happened, and then I was in 3MB and then I left. Yeah, let's all make sure everyone really thinks about that whilst I hold the WWE Championship. Look, nothing against Drew McIntyre. I think he's a sensational performer. But Jesus Christ, they are trying to make him feel irrelevant. After him getting such a great reaction at the Royal Rumble, not only, you know, with eliminating Brock, but winning the whole bloody thing. You know, an actual popular WWE champion seems rare nowadays, and they've got a lot of stock in Drew McIntyre. A lot of people are like, you know what? You can have a couple of crap pay-per-view matches if he wants. I don't think he has so far. Really enjoyed what he did with Bobby Lashley, for example. But the interim shows just have him Claymore dudes' heads off. It's really easy.
Just be a badass.
Really easy. And I'm not saying don't have him talk. He's a great talker. But just, maybe let him talk properly rather than going, remember when I was crap?
Yeah. I used to suck, but now I'm great. It's not quite the pay-per-view build a lot of us wanted. Now, shall we speed round these last two? Because I've just had a warning on my phone saying I have 10% battery left. So this video could be a disaster. AEW Dynamite. 3 episodes of AEW Dynamite have been moved off their usual Wednesday night slot due to the NBA scheduling conflicts. NBA playoffs are coming in. NBA is a bigger money spinner for TNT, so of course they're going to move, the little wrestling show. So the details of that are as follows. The Dynamite episode scheduled for the 19th of August has been moved to Saturday at 6 p.m, which is the old WCW NWA TV slot was for ages and ages. Tony Khan will probably love that. The following week, 26th of August, that show will go down on Wednesday, but it'll be whenever the NBA game finishes. So there'll be, a big lead in from the NBA game. It'll go later on. Also, the following night, they're having another episode of Dynamite on Thursday. So you're going to get two days, 2 Dynamites. That's pretty cool. And then on the 16th of September, there was another change as well. Dynamite will go down on the 17th. That's the Thursday. So big changes coming. NBA is a bigger money spinner. No surprises.
In summary, NXT has won the Wednesday Night Wars because AEW has just said, I can't take the heat. I'm getting out of the kitchen.
2K.
So we have to move on. We haven't got time to talk about it. I'm sorry, Andy. I'm sure no one will comment on that in the comment section. Final news story of the day surrounds this whole story that came out yesterday about The Rock buying the XFL. It all came out yesterday. He'd purchased the failed football league for just $15 million. It wasn't really failed. It just sort of got his legs cut out from underneath it because of the ongoing global bastard. But it was different. That's definitely the case. However, a motion objecting to this takeover has now been filed by those still owed money by the group. This is per PW Insider. Apparently, the XFL, of course, was bankrupt. That's what Vince McMahon said earlier this year, which means that they didn't have to pay out any of their creditors, or the way they were going to get paid, I should say, is their assets just getting sold for whatever price they can get for it rather than the actual market value. Therefore, you're not going to get the money that you're actually owed. You're just going to get sort of pennies on the dollar almost. Look, the creditors are in favour of The Rock and his group taking over the XFL. They just want to make sure that with regards to the sale and the dealing with the previous ownership and the bankruptcy and what have you, they still get the money owed to them. There's a big boring statement you can read about it if you want to know all the financial ins and outs of it. That's up at whatculture.com now, but it doesn't seem as straightforward as we first thought, Andy.
No, the little hitches here and there, probably to be expected. Vince McMahon pulled some shady stuff in the aftermath of this, and these people just don't want to be shortchanged. So fingers crossed that a resolution that suits everyone can come out of this.
Exactly. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Night of the Living Podcast, one of the best podcasts out there that isn't ours, who says, would having Samoa Joe be the commentator for hashtag Raw Underground be perfect, or would it be perfect? Yes, Andy, we almost saw him return to the ring last night, but he does seem to be the perfect fit for whatever the bloody hell Raw Underground is.
Yeah, it would be a lot better. I mean, Shane McMahon can't throw a worked punch, for God's sake. He can't do a triangle choke convincingly. Like, Shane McMahon's the worst possible person you could have doing that. He's just so unconvincing. He's a billionaire's son. Samoa Joe would be a lot better. He's more realistic working style. He's more threatening. He's one of the most believable personalities in the company. Yeah, good idea.
I just love the fact they had one of John Jones's trainers training Shane McMahon before the Mania where he faced Taker. And I just saw that and went, what must he be thinking? Second question today comes from Tom Allwood. He's all wood, Tom. He says, in a weird way, do you think the ongoing global bastard will end up being beneficial to the wrestling industry? With shows lacking crowds before they shut down, maybe you will get full houses when things start up again. Andy, there's sort of two trains of thought here. We're losing audience because of the ongoing global bastard, but also the clamour to go and see live wrestling is as big as one of the most high demand things I've heard in ages.
Yeah, I can only see the global bastard having a long-term detrimental effect on wrestling. I think the first few weeks back and the first few months back, you will see spikes in interest levels because people will just be so glad to see it back and lots of lapsed people will come back. But I cannot shake the idea from my head that a lot of people are going to have tuned out during this thing and realised how much they don't miss it. The habitual viewers who don't really like Raw and SmackDown but watch it every week because it's just a thing they do. I can see a lot of them just going, screw this, why would I go back? You know, I'm not really, this is gut feeling, I don't have any data to sit here and quote to you and make an objective case, but I don't know, I don't feel too positive about rebounding. I think you'll get a good few weeks, and after that, I don't know how it looks.
Yeah, it's worrying. I think they need to book really strongly, and I don't have faith in WWE in particular doing that once it all goes back to normal. I would like, though, let's just say for argument's sake, at the start of 2021, that's when everything is back to how it was at the start of 2020, for example. WWE having to do a previously on Monday Night Raw, trying to recap good luck trying to recap last night, let alone last year. Bloody hell. Final question today comes from Matt Suda on Twitter, who says, do you think that if AEW gets as big as WWE, they will get a network?
Their own network?
I assume like the WWE network.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got you. I got confused there. They're off at your own TV network. I was like, yeah, I mean, I could see them doing it. I mean, it's kind of a requirement now, right? To have your own streaming service. Most indie groups, you know, known indie groups have their own streaming service these days, and there's platforms like independentwrestling.tv and stuff as well. Yeah, I think they'll do it regardless. I think for them, it's just a case of building up enough content to justify it, because at the moment you've got, 30, 40 episodes of Dynamite, a handful of pay-per-views. It's not a whole lot there for, say, like $9.99 a month, and obviously you can charge less, but you have to look at the economics of that. I do think it's something they'll do. It'll take a long time for that promotion to be anywhere near as big as WWE, and I don't think they'll ever do it, perhaps. But it's something I think we'll see in 2 or 3 years when they have enough content to justify the subscription.
Exactly, yeah. I was about to say, oh yeah, you could chuck all the episodes of Being the Elite on there, and then I thought, oh wait, they already are somewhere.
Yeah.
Right here, where we are right now. Right, let's wrap up, do quick and finally before Andy's phone dies. Today's and finally is brought to you by Nyla Rose. She was taking part in that Women's Deadly Draw Tag Team AEW tournament thing last night. She unfortunately lost her first match, and as the results tweeted, that's it, no more losses. Call me Jada, because I'm cheating all August.
Oh my goodness.
Poor Will Smith. What a lovely guy he is.
Oh, I love Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose is great value on Twitter as well.
Yeah,
she's
awesome. You're not
awesome.
following her, go and
She's
follow
awesome.
Nyla. She is very, very good. Right, let's quickly wrap this up then, Andy, before your phone dies. Let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dudley Boys, it's going to be a good one, this. Reviewing Monday Night Raw a little bit later on. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, you can follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray
at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for, hey, my battery's about to die, so that's the end of the video. Piss off.
You can follow me at Adam Wilbur. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE, and we will see you soon.